Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be doing intro for Creo 11. Just a little intro into some of the basic functions it could do. So we're going to run through small things like new parts, sketch, extrude, chamfer, round. Basically the same thing I did in my Creo 5 video, but just with a few small changes because this is obviously slightly updated software. So some of it has shortcuts, some of it has a lot easier functions, a lot less steps. But in saying that, let's get started. So obviously this is your normal home screen. First thing we're going to do is select a new part. Select part, not sheet metal solid, part 1. Say OK. And as per usual, it pops up with all your normal menus. Everything that Creo 5 has, except this is a lot more direct. There's a lot more shortcuts and so on. So let's start. We're going to do a sketch. We're going to select that plane. We're going to say sketch. Now, this is the first difference you'll see from Creo 5 to Creo 11. So on Creo 11, it's not going to turn your drawing surface as it does automatically in Creo 5. I know this seems like a step back, but it does actually have a lot of functionality when you're doing extrusions on certain parts and because your references and your visual references are not always on your drawing plane. But very simple to correct this. We click on the sketch view button and voila, jumps back into place. Okay. Then again, our usual, there's our rectangle. Click on the left, click on the right, and ta-da! Okay. Then we're now having a menu here with your constraints in this tab here now. So now even, so you click submit, click on there, and boom. And then if you click on symmetrical again, there. Now I'm going to select to go back to my normal function. Now one of the cool things that you'll see about this is actually that Creo 5 doesn't have is that it changes the scale basically with your first dimension. So if I change this now to say 200, which is almost half of that dimension, it scales this dimension here. As you check, look, I'll go back. See, it was 255. So it scales it. You'll see as I've done here. So now I'm going to go forward. It actually scales it in line with your new dimension that you've added there. So your shape remains the same, which is quite a nifty little feature, so it doesn't throw it all out all random and weird. So I'm going to say, sorry guys, 150, not 15. Okay, so now that we've got our block, we're going to say, okay, up in the right here, we are going to hold in the center of our mouse and rotate our planes. Zoom out if you roll your mouse ball forward, or roller if you want to. You zoom forward, zoom back, simple, easy. Now we're going to say extrude because we have our sketch automatic. But just another side note, if this is not selected here, if say now it's like that, and I click extrude, it is not going to do what you just saw it do the first time because you haven't selected a sketch. So that sketch was highlighted because we had just finished it. But if you now clicked or if you're busy or something and it was not highlighted when you came back, all you're going to do is select extrude like we did, then click the sketch, and it will give it to you just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select the thickness of our block. Okay, so firstly, we can click on this little area, drag it forward, backwards. That'll give you your size. We can click then edit our size, or we can even edit our size there. So again, 150. Okay. Now, another function, as I've shown you guys in my other videos, but if this is your first time watching this, I'll show you as well. So this is your variable, which means you're on this plane going this way, or if you flick it around, it'll go the other way. Okay, with this function right here. So that's your variable. Okay. Then if you go symmetrical, it will leave it in the center. That's the one I prefer. If you're gonna flick this, it's not gonna change much. It just moves the dimension because it's symmetrical. Then the other one you have is to reference. So if I had another datum plane here, which we don't, but if I did, I would click reference and then I would simply click on that datum plane and it would actually extend the block from this datum plane to that datum plane. This works quite well if you're doing something where it's got an extrusion in it already, a cutout, and you want to put a part in that cutout but have it at the same level as the top of the other part of your extrusion, then you select there. But we'll dive into that in a bit more detail. This is just our little intro. So again, symmetrical is the one I'm going to use. Okay. Now, we can do it like this, or if I'm looking at having a tube, okay, if this is supposed to be a rectangle tube, we're going to click on thickness, and it's going to turn it into a tube. Okay. Please remember when you are doing an extrusion, for something like this, it needs to be a solid, not a surface. Okay, otherwise, none of the stuff I showed you now is going to work. Well, this will work, but the thickness is not going to work at all. So, solid, there's your thickness, 2.5. Okay, you can actually just make that 5. It's fine. But you can also change it here. As you can see, there's another menu there. There's another dimension there that you can change the thickness. So there's a few places where you can actually change the thickness. And then obviously this feature puts it inside your drawing, outside your drawing, or in the center of your drawing. I generally work on the inside of my drawing, but I also work with the outside of my parts 90% of the time. So if you are somebody that uses plumbing parts or schedule pipe, a lot of those sizes work on the inside sizes. So very simple. You can then just click on there and change it to the outside of your sketch. Simple, easy. Then all we're going to do is, if we're happy with this now, we're going to say OK. And there we have our tube, or well, I suppose you can call it a tube. Okay, then simple other features that we have. Your round. Click on there. You're going to select your edge. Hold Control. Select your other edges that you want. If you highlight an edge, and that's not the one you want, you can right click and it will highlight other edges. Okay, so say I'm here, there, see. So this is just me, I'm right clicking at this stage and it's changing where I want that round. So, but that's the one I actually want. So we're gonna go there and then again hold Control, select that one. Okay, now we've got our edges. We're gonna change the radius to 2. Well, we can change it here, as you can see, or I can change it there to 2. Okay, and I just push the center of my mouse and it's got its round. Done deal. Okay, now same with the chamfer tool. You can select your edge and it will carry on right through. As you can see, it's suggesting that. Yeah, so it's a very nice little feature. Because this is a solid, it's going to do that. Because it's not sections, it's going to do that. So then makes your life a lot easier. And if I now select this one, or if I add a set and I select this one, we can do different sizes of chamfers, as you can see there. So that's if you want to do a different chamfer. But again, we only need one set. Come on, man. Okay, well, I'll just delete it there. So as I right click there, delete, and it goes back down the way it was before. Okay, now we've got our tube, we've got a chamfer, we've got a round. Now, another feature that's quite nifty, if I go back to my extrude and I say edit definition, okay? By the way, that was your little edit definition icon on Creo 11. That little, there, okay. Click on there. I'm going to take the thickness away. Okay, I'm going to make it a solid. Okay, as you can see now, the round is kicked out because your references are gone. But we can just change that. We can say edit definition. We can remove all and then just reselect the edges. Very simple. Okay, and say okay. And voila. And chamfer, same thing. We click edit definition. We remove. We select a new edge and voila. Okay. So very simple. So don't freak out when it gives you little errors. Nothing to worry about. I mean, all you can do is just either delete it and try again or just undo right at the top here. There we go. So very simple. Okay, now a nice little feature also that we've got here is called shell. Okay, right there. So we're going to click on shell. So instead of doing like a tube, because now you don't want the opening that side, maybe you want the opening this side, but your extrusion is this way. You know, there's multiple reasons. Once you click your shell, as you click your shell, it needs a opening. So you need to pick up a spot where it's going to open. Okay. So if I click there, it's going to give it the opening there. Okay. If I click there, I'm going to move the opening there. But if I click there and then control, click the other side, okay, then it will turn it into a tube. Watch. Ah, man. Anyway, sorry. Let's try that again. So we're going to go shell. Going to click on this side. We're going to click on this side. And we are going to say, okay. And there you have your shell. See? Simple, easy. If you're doing sheet metal and so on, this is quite a easy way to create boxes and so on. Then you just convert to sheet metal, which is on this drop down right here, right there. Convert to sheet metal. Then you can add your tears, your bends. I mean, if you're going to do that, you don't need rounds. You take your rounds out. But yeah, that's sort of the easiest way for me when I do a sheet metal box or so on. I do it like this and then add my edge rips and tears and bends and all that into it. It's actually the easiest way. Well, I think it's the easiest way. If anybody has a different opinion, I suppose that's their opinion, but this is how I do it. Okay, so we have done our sketch, our extrude, our round, our chamfer, our shell. Yeah, showed you guys quite a few little nifty things. Again, this is just intro to Creo 11. Um, this is just to show you the differences between Creo 5 and Creo 11. We will go into depth more on Creo 11 as well. I wouldn't say I'm going to mimic the beginners on the Creo 5, but there will be slight similarities to the curriculum. But obviously, it will be slightly the same. It will just be the buttons and so on that change and are simpler and quicker. So, if this video has been helpful to you and has taught you a few things, please subscribe, like the page, like the video, subscribe, share, comment. Do all those things, obviously, as much as you can, and we do appreciate it. And if you have any questions, put in the comments. If you have any suggestions, put in the comments. Go hit the like and subscribe, and you will see a lot more of these videos. But for now, that's us. We are done, and we are out of here. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Cheers.